Today's show focuses on Tesla fueling the success of Trevor Milton and Nikola. This is Greg for Teslafaninsight. Thanks once again for joining us. If this is your first time, welcome. If you're a repeat visitor, welcome back. So I also want to thank our Patreon supporters as well as our subscribers. If you enjoy the show, please take time to like and subscribe. At any rate, today's show is a bit unusual. We're going to start off kind of with our trade blast and then get into our show about Nikola. This is sort of the start of the 3-day rule as we've discussed. And so we're looking for today and tomorrow to be pretty strong days for Tesla, driven by the fact that institutions now have the green light to buy the stock at this level. So we'll kind of keep you posted on how this all works out. Obviously, you can keep posted by keeping an eye out on what happens with the stock price. So without further ado, we really wanted to do a discussion of what's going on with Nikola and the doubling of its stock price a couple of days ago and how things are going. I have been studying Nikola pretty aggressively, maybe 50 hours or so in the last 4 years. And over that time, I've been very impressed by the ability of their CEO, Mr. Milton, to, if you will, stay alive. Right now, the only semi-deliverable product that they have is actually kind of an electric dune buggy that's targeting corporate clients. And other than that, there have been some, I want to say impressive. There was a vehicle that was shown moving beer from Anheuser-Busch, and that's probably the most sort of blatant example of a working prototype that we've seen in action from Nikola over the last 4 years. I have to admit, very surprised that we're doing a story on Nikola right now. I actually thought they'd be bankrupt at least 2 years ago, maybe even 3. And the reason is that they have premium marketing in terms of the CEO of the company understanding the industry well and understanding its ability to leverage that marketing knowledge to sort of facilitate vehicles that might work. So sort of when I first encountered them 4 years ago after Tesla announcement regarding its semi, we actually did a series of shows called Nikola is a Fraud. The reason for that was the CEO of Nikola actually came out and indicated that Elon Musk's truck was a fraud based on the fact that the performance parameters that Elon had articulated really didn't work. So I was impressed by the command of the CEO of the business, because he rightly called out the fact that Elon's 500-mile range for the truck was driven by the assumption that it was on flat land. So if you look through those early press releases after the semi came out, there were a few tweets or statements made by Nikola that really sort of hammered Tesla on some valid points, the example being what I just shared. So we're kind of in an interesting zone right now, which is like, how do you deal with the fact that Nikola has done a reverse public offering and is now public? And so I'm blown away by quality of marketing, quality of banking that is going on behalf of Nikola. I actually think that the banking support Nikola has is actually better than that of Tesla's, because Tesla had to provide a whole bunch more finished products, technology, engineering, scientific backup in order to get where its market cap is. And Nikola has had to provide very little. And I think that what this is about is something called the Michael Jordan effect. And I don't know if you guys remember this, but Michael Jordan pointed out that his success in playing basketball had changed the endorsement process for basketball players, so that prior to Michael Jordan, you had to go on the court and prove you could play before you got large dollars from endorsements. And after Michael Jordan, a lot of companies fearful of missing out have started lavishing large dollars on unproven rookies because they fear missing out on a potential superstar that could drive their sales in the future. So Michael had pointed this out, and I really think that that's the case for what's going on right now, which is that inadvertently Elon is actually fueling the success of Nikola. And there are probably three elements to this. One is the fact that it's well known that there's a move to electric, and when you have places like Europe basing the structure of their electric trucks on the Tesla Semi, it's clear that there's a global phenomenon, which is a move towards electric, perhaps hydrogen, that's been going on. The problem, though, and so basically Tesla's success on cars and its delay in trucks leaves room for Nikola to actually represent itself as a viable competitor, because you could say that based on the delivery made by Nikola on its truck on behalf of Budweiser, it's done more commercial deliveries on behalf of real customers than Tesla has, even though it has examples like this of the Semi. And so this is, I want to say, mind-blowing. There's a concept in the black neighborhood that's called "don't hate the player, hate the game." And so in my mind, there's a term called pimpery, where if in fact somebody's able to get financing and get the markets to move money in your direction in those quantities that Mr. Milton has achieved with Nikola, I have to take my hats off to him, because for everyone right now is talking about the fact that Nikola doesn't have any revenue. And I thought this was interesting because they're absolutely right that they don't have revenue. But what's also interesting is that not only do they not have revenue, but they're going for what I call the empty shell. So one of the core logics of their business model is to recruit various partners, and the ability of those partners to deliver is a key component of why they're successful. So one of their partners, for example, is US West, and US West has agreed to take large numbers of the trucks if and when they're ready. So Nikola has been able to leverage those guaranteed contracts as a way to represent themselves as having legitimate sales in waiting for their product, therefore fueling their market cap. Another component of this is that obviously the reverse split allowed them to go public without having to do road shows and other things that it takes to actually viably represent yourself as a company. I think that was a brilliant move. Another brilliant move was the fact that a part of the big driver for their current bump in value is the announcement of the electric pickup truck that they're going to be doing, and that they'll be taking, I guess, deposits and reservations at the end of June. And so I just think that I believe it's a complete fraud, but I have to say that I respect the fact that if smart people are willing to put up the money, then I think the game goes to Mr. Milton in terms of saying to him, I think it's brilliant, because if you think about it right now, the folks at Nikola are kind of in the same position as Mercedes, not really as Tesla, because Tesla is working prototypes, but there are a large number of companies that are trying to complete and deliver electric trucks to be tested and then eventually purchased in large fleets. And the challenges everybody has except for Tesla is the fact that there's battery technology combined with software technology that facilitates length of trips that are consistent with what a regular diesel vehicle might do. And so what's beautiful or crazy about Nikola is the fact that right now they could claim with their one or two built out prototypes that they have just as many prototypes built out as Tesla, as well as perhaps Mercedes and some of the other huge companies out there. So I have to say again, I'm still amazed at the ability of that company to get funding, to continue to operate, and have not only no sales, but also no R&D, etc. The I guess the biggest sort of heart of the company that I've been watching, that I've been amazed by, is that there's a process that Nikola has been doing where they've been pivoting on a regular basis, sometimes in as little as 3 to 6 months, from one core concept of how they would operate to another. They seem to have made a transition from focusing on building large numbers of hydrogen fuel cell operating locations and ported that over to a discussion of doing electric trucks, and then sort of riding the success of that discussion. There's a whole bunch of questions that go in there. For example, right now, Daimler-Benz Mercedes is actually building their own battery facilities, so at least a small portion of the batteries they produce will be in-house production versus those that they buy from South Korean manufacturers or others around the world that they've signed contracts with. In the case of Mr. Milton and his company, one of the things that there's been no clear discussion of is, yes, you might be able to get prototype quantities of batteries or battery packs, but given that there are at least 20 other OEMs ahead of you in the line to purchase battery packs from the large Korean manufacturers, like, where is he going to get batteries to do this? And that's a very simple question, but it really goes to the whole idea of the fact that there are a number of holes in his story that really don't fit. And so this is why it's our estimate that this thing is a complete fraud, because the number of issues that you could go through that Nikola has trying to get to market is unbelievable. But the fact that Tesla has been successful in the way they've been, and the fact there's a large demand for these electric trucks, and they have an ability to produce some really good looking prototypes, facilitates their ability to actually get a lot of money from people as they try to make this run. What do I think is going to happen to Nikola? I believe what's going to happen is there's going to be a breakthrough in the next year or two on behalf of the large manufacturers like Daimler to actually get a decent car on the road and then combine that with a decent semi. And once they execute that and have those vehicles being distributed Europe and America and Asia, it's actually going to choke off between them and Tesla and others. It will simply just choke off space for Nikola to exist. But in the interim, with nobody delivering a solution, I think they can spin an excellent story and get it extremely well funded. It's interesting here because many people sort of want to look at this as a Trevor Milton phenomenon, and I just think that there are other players. For example, CEO, owner of US West, is helping fuel this as well, because by having legitimate customers like that present their willingness to buy this product going forward, I think it influences, those booked orders, in essence, are fueling the possibility that this company might do well. And so I think that's part of the big reason why all this money is being thrown at them, despite having no revenue, no sales, etc. The final, I could go through 50 different questions about this company that I'm amazed by, but the final one I think is fascinating to watch is that Mr. Milton has articulated they're going to be using Robert Bosch and Company to handle the electric motors for this vehicle. And so this reflects a strategy that he's pursuing where for every component of his vehicle, he's having the manufacturer of whatever it is, in this case the motor, become a partner, and then having the partners put up some of the money to fuel R&D to deliver a solution for him. So he's done a good job of, I want to say, modularization, where he moves around the vehicle, identifies partners who are experts in each of those areas, and then brings them aboard to help him pull together his product. And to date, he's got some really big names that he's attached to sort of get this done. You know, the final sort of look that I have is that I actually think this company should actually be called Fitzgerald. And the reason is that not only did Mr. Milton pull Nikola together by using outside suppliers to do their own R&D and then getting them to fund being a part of the project and potentially the growth and success of the company, perhaps as an exclusive supplier. But he also retained a firm called Fitzgerald, which manufactures other types of vehicle. So he could represent himself as a solid manufacturer because even the production of the vehicles at his facility are going to be done by Fitzgerald and not by Nikola. So I just think that it's brilliant to have him handle marketing, handle finance in the form of the markets, and get a product out there via partnerships with excellent brands, and those brands add to the credibility of his firm. So hats off to Nikola and Mr. Milton for not going bankrupt yet. He's done a great job of finding a sweet spot where he can work to build a company. Whether or not it succeeds is kind of an unknown, but we're in the zone right now of skeptical, but I have to say that the quality of what they're doing in terms of getting people's money is really impressive. I feel bad for the people who invest there because I think reality will hit hard and there'll be a lot of people who lose a lot of money in this process. So we'll see how this all plays out. At any rate, I want to say thank you very much for joining us for our visit with Nikola today. Look forward to your comments. Please remember to do 25 leg lifts. Don't forget to consider a 5-2 or another fasting diet relative to mental health. Also want to encourage you to consider a 30 or better SPF, no fried foods more than once a week, and also maybe once or twice weightlifting to maintain bone density. This is Greg for Teslafaninsight. Thanks once again for joining us. Best of luck if you're a Nikola investor. I think you'll need it, but I have to give him credit because he's doing a great job of delivering while others are similarly slowed down. He can claim a great deal of success. Have a great day. Bye for now. Tschüss, macht's gut, au revoir, lehitraot, choda hafez, zdravstvuyte, ni hao ma, hey do, and in Jamaica we say enough respect, walk good. Thank you. Bye for now.